Okay, Stefan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great, thank you. Thanks for coming to my first health and wellness podcast.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for having me on for your first episode.
You're welcome. Because you know why? Because you are the person I know, the fitness industry I know, like fittest, healthiest, strongest, and like look at the background, like most like qualified and then smart person I know and walk to talk. So you are the first pocket.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So let's can you introduce my followers who you are, please?
Sure. So my name is Daniele. I'm a holistic health coach. I have been coaching for almost 17 years, and most of the people that I work with is predominantly professional and Olympic athletes, and then also people that have severe musculoskeletal dysfunction. So I would say about half of the clients that I work with are more professional athletes. The other half is just people that have some type of either injury or some type of health condition that they're trying to alleviate and just get some help from.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm impressed behind you the the certification.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what kind of certification you have? How many and then what kind of certification you have?
So in total, aside from my 2 diplomas, I've done over 60 different certification courses, and on the wall behind me, that's 42 of the 60. So those are the ones that mean the most to me and the ones that I do the most in my studio. And in terms of how exactly I got started, the first certification course that I ever did was back in January of 2001. So it's been just over 20 years since I did my first certification course. And then from 2001 up until I got into the fitness industry, basically I went off of the knowledge that I got from school, because I ended up doing really well in gym, in exercise science, and in the workout class that we had. So in grade 9, I ended up I had the best grades in all of grade 9 gym class. I had 94% in my gym class. Then in grade 10, I ended up doing exercise. It was called weight training. That was the course that we had. So I built up a solid foundation in my weight training knowledge. I got a good amount from that course. And then I just decided to continue on with it in grade 11. In grade 11 as my elective, I decided to take exercise science. And then as soon as I graduated, that's when I decided that I wanted to get into training as a part-time thing, as a way for me to make money while I was in school. And then I was in business school, absolutely hated it. So I decided to drop out of business school and make training my full-time job. So 2009 was when I decided to officially make personal training a full-time job. And then in 2010, that's when I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And that's when I kind of made the shift. So from personal training, I got into holistic health. And that's when I became a holistic health coach. So I started doing things like studying from the Czech Institute, Poliquin Group, and all of these people that I had read about, just to more in the beginning, just to help myself out. I wanted to incorporate their principles just to help myself get a little bit stronger, improve my health. And then once I noticed how much better I was feeling and how I was able to improve my health, then I just started working with a lot more patients and clients that also had some type of either injuries or some type of medical conditions where they needed a little bit of help with either their diet, their lifestyle, or their training program. So started out with Charles Poliquin, Paul Chek, and Ann and Chris Frederick of the Stretch to Win Institute. Those were 3 of the really big courses that I took early on in my career that really kind of changed the trajectory of my career and how exactly I was going to start working with people. And then from there, I started looking into the Soma Training Institute, which is something that Guy Boyer, who's this world-renowned French osteopath, created over 30 years ago. So I ended up doing the Soma Training program. That was a 3-year program. It was 15 courses over the course of 3 years. And aside from that, I also did my massage therapy degree. My massage therapy diploma was a 2,200-hour program, very, very intense program. And those were the 2 big ones, the Soma Training and the massage therapy program, and then the Czech Institute as well. Like I did 3 years with the Czech Academy. That was over 400 hours. So between my Soma Training program, my 3 years with the Czech Academy, and my 2,200-hour massage therapy program, that alone accounted for about 3,000 hours out of my education. And then aside from that, in total, I've done over 4,000 hours of certification courses and my diplomas as well. And then on top of that, I've done about another 1,500 to 2,000 hours worth of workshops and seminars with guys like Paul Check, Ray Cook, Charles Poliquin, Guy Moye, and all of these people that have worked with people that have either been professional athletes, Olympic athletes, or people with medical conditions. And the reason that those are the avenues that I decided to go into were because when I got into this early on when I first started, I just wanted to train just the average person. And then as I started delving more into the industry, I started getting more interested in working with more high performance athletes and also people with medical conditions. One of the reasons being is I like to challenge myself, and to help somebody lose weight or build muscle, it's nice, but at the same time, it's kind of easy. Like, you eat well, exercise, you can accomplish that goal. But with people that are trying to achieve the highest level of performance, or people that have a medical condition that are trying to alleviate their symptoms, there's a lot more effort involved into creating programs and catering it toward those specific individuals. So that's why I kind of gravitated toward those types of people. And that's why I've been taking all of the courses that I've taken over the years. And my goal every single year for the last decade is pretty much, I want to take at least 5 courses per year. And I don't want to just take BS courses. I want to do my research, who created the course, who's teaching it. And I want to see that the person who I'm going to be learning from is somebody that has either worked with professional athletes, they've helped people get off of medications, and they've just helped the type of people that I want to help. So that's basically how I got started and why exactly I've been doing the things that I've been doing over the last 17 years.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. Every time, every course I go, I see you. every course I see you. Oh, okay, there's a Stephen over there. That's crazy. Okay, so amazing. So now, let's go a little bit more specific about you. Okay, I want to know about you because you are amazing. Like, your knowledge is amazing, but also you are super fit, right? And super strong. What is your nutrition like? How many times a day do you eat, and then what time? And
So
what's your typical daily diet looks like?
Mhm. So for the last year, since March 1st of 2020, I've been pretty strict with the carnivore diet. So all I do is pretty much eat meats for 90% of my diet, and then the remaining 5 to 10% is going to be eggs and sometimes cheese. But for the most part, 90 to 95% of my diet is just meats. And most of that is going to be red meat. I eat a lot of steak, and I'll eat twice a day. So I kind of break down for you my day, what it looks like. Typically, Mondays and Thursdays, those are the days that I work a little bit later, where I actually schedule clients really late at night. So I get home really late. So I'll have my medium ground beef liver on those days. I'll do a pound of medium ground beef, a pound of beef liver. I'll fry it up in about 100 grams of grass-fed butter in my cast iron skillet. I'll eat half for breakfast, and then I'll have the other half. I'll put it in my little lunch truck that I have, so it stays warm for me over here. And then I'll eat that at night after I'm done my workout. So I'll do that on Mondays and Thursdays. And then I have a bunch of recipes that I have on my channel. It's called Carnivore Kitchen. And one of the recipes that I really like that I have a couple times a week is my double bacon cheeseburger with sirloin patties. So I'll have 2 sirloin patties, 3 strips of bacon, 1 whole egg. I'll separate the egg whites from the egg yolks, put a little bit of cheese on each. The egg white and cheese will form the bun, and then the egg yolk and cheese will form the cheese sauce for the cheeseburger. And then I'll do top sirloin steak a couple times a week. Typically, I like to have steak whenever I train legs or do my strongman training. So on my leg days, those are when I'll have either top sirloin steak. And then on the 7th day, that'll be a day where I either have ribeye steak or something like bacon wraps, filet mignon. But that's pretty much what I eat throughout the course of the week. I'll have breakfast at around 7:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning. And then my dinner, it really depends on the day. Usually I'll have dinner at around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It really depends on when I'm getting home and when I finish my workout.
So you eat breakfast and dinner, or breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Just breakfast and dinner. Yeah, I'll have breakfast and dinner, and then if I feel a little bit hungry at night, then I'll just snack on something. Like I'll get maybe some goat cheese, some sheep cheese, or something like that to snack on if I do feel like snacking. But otherwise, I'll just have my 2 meals, just breakfast and dinner.
Okay, so 12 hours a window. So breakfast 7 a.m., dinner around 7 p.m., right?
Yeah, it'll be about 10 to 12 hours between breakfast and dinner.
Okay, so you don't use the spices, right?
No, the only thing I use really is Himalayan sea salt. That's it.
Oh, okay. So that's only you use Himalayan sea salt?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you don't use olive oil or avocado oil?
No, I'll use if I'm cooking in my cast iron skillet, then I'll use grass-fed butter, lard, ghee, something like that. And then if I'm cooking in my air fryer, then I'll get some MCT oil and I'll just spray that on the MCT oil. But in terms of the actual cooking oils or fats that I use, it's mostly grass-fed butter.
So you are 100% not 100% carnivore because you use MCT oil, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I put a little bit of MCT oil in the air fryer aside from that.
So you're not 100% carnivore.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what's your training style like right now?
So this week, all of 2021, I've been doing really insane high amounts of volume. And my right shoulder, it's just been a little bit tense the last week. So this week right now, I've just been doing more rehab work. I've been doing some low pulley external rotation, hand over opposite hip. I've been doing some low pulley trap 3 raises for the shoulder. For my legs, I've been doing some Pollock step ups. I've been doing some front foot elevated low pulley cable split squats. I've also been doing some segmental strengthening and reinforcement for my rhomboid major and for my inferior trapezius. And then I've also been incorporating some stuff for the glutes, hamstrings, and the quads. For glutes and hamstrings, I've been doing the glute ham raise, and for my quads, I've been doing some segmental strengthening and reinforcement for the proximal fibers of the vastus intermedius. So it's essentially like a reverse Nordic curl, where you're just on your knees and you're hinging back.
Yeah. Very functional movement.
Yeah. So I'm doing that for this week just to kind of make my body feel a little bit better from all the volume. And then next week, I'm going to go back to my training. And in terms of my training, I've been doing for the last 2 months, 2.5 months, I've been doing a decent amount of strongman training. So I've been doing a lot of tire flips, atlas stones, log presses, and those types of exercises.
Yeah,
Day one will be my push day. That'll be usually when I do things like either handstand push-ups or log presses. Day 2 is my pull day, which for the last 3 weeks, this is why my shoulder's been bugging me, just because it's been a lot of volume on my pull day. I've been doing 30 sets of pull-ups. So I'll do 10 sets of 10 wide parallel grip, 10 sets of 10 wide pronated, and then 10 sets of 10 semi-supinated. And I was doing that for 3 weeks. And then on my strongman training day, it was 10 sets of 10 repetitions of atlas stones and 10 sets of 10 repetitions with tire flips. And the way that I structured it was I would do 10 sets of 10 supersetted of each. And every 9 minutes, on the 9th minute, I would go. And then every single workout, since I couldn't really add weight, I would just decrease my rest time by 30 seconds. So in week 1, on the 9th minute, every 9th minute, I would go. Week 2, every 8 minutes and 30 seconds, on the 8th minute and 30th second, I would go. And then I just kept decreasing the rest by 30 seconds until I was at 6-minute intervals.
Crazy, man. What's your equipment weight like right now? That was super heavy for me. So what's the equipment weight?
So the strongman tire is 500 pounds. The Atlas Stone, it's really a slam ball, but that one over there, it's 150 pounds.
Yeah.
The log press, the bar itself is 94 pounds, that however much weight I decide to put on it. And my weight, like in terms of my weight, it hovers anywhere from 152 to 158, depending on how much water I have in my system at the time when I'm working out.
Yeah.
I'll consume anywhere from 5 to 7 liters of water throughout the day. So if I'm consuming closer to that 7-liter mark, like on my strongman training days, my weight will probably get up to around 158. If I'm consuming closer to 5, then my weight will probably be a little bit closer to 154, 155.
Yeah, crazy, man. You are like most like super strong. What's your body fat? Can I see your abs right now? Like, what's your body fat? Like crazy. What's your body fat right now?
I don't know exactly what my body fat is. If I had to estimate just from looking at it just with my eyes, I would probably estimate it to be somewhere around the 9% range. I did a caliper test on myself, but it was the Jackson Pollock 3-site method, which is the worst method you could do. It's the most inaccurate.
Yeah.
But of all the caliper methods, that's the only one where I have the sites readily available, because with the Jackson Pollock 3-site, the only sites you have to measure are the pec, the quad. So the other ones, I can't get to my low back. I can't get to my subscapular. So when I measured my body fat on that test, it said I was 3.84%, which is BS. There's no way I'm 3.84%.
Yeah, you know what though? Jeff Cavalier, right? So so Athlete Next, he did the same method. He did it himself. He got around 5%, right?
Yeah.
So I think you are leaner, almost same lean as him, or DEXA scan, or if you know like InBody, right?
Yeah.
If you do InBody, it will say like super lean, like 4-5% or 3%, something like that.
Yeah. Well, the last thing that I did, the last time I did the InBody was back in 2018, and I was 6.0% when I did the InBody.
Yeah, but at the time you did the carnivore. You didn't like that lean, right?
So at the time I was doing keto. Yeah, so it was pretty much, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2010, and that's kind of where I changed my whole dietary approach and really started paying a lot more attention to the quality of food that I was eating.
Yeah.
So I started out with paleo diet, and then I just noticed that I would feel better when I ate higher fat. So then I started doing keto, but I didn't even know what keto was. I just knew that when my 80% of my calories came from fat, I felt really good. And then years later, I heard about the keto diet, and was like, oh, that's what I've been doing, and I didn't even realize it. And then with the carnivore diet, this was the longest I've ever done it for, because I've done it 2 times before. I experimented with it back in January of 2013 for 2 months. And then again,
13. Wow.
Yeah. And then again, I did it in April of 2015 for 2 months. So when I ended up doing it this last time, I was originally going to do it for 3 months. And then every 3 months, I wanted to try something different, and then just kind of do a vlog style video of how exactly I'm feeling. And after 3 months, I was feeling amazing. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing it until I find that it's no longer benefiting me. And it's been over a year now. I'm still feeling amazing on it. So I'm just going to keep doing it until I no longer see the benefits.
So you don't even eat honey, carbohydrate?
No, the only time I'll ever have anything like that, if I'm eating something that I didn't prepare myself, let's say I'm getting together for a family get together, and they're having sausages, and the sausages like have some pepper in it or something, then I'll have the sausage and whatever pepper's in the sausage I'll eat. But aside from that, I have no vegetables whatsoever.
No, not even honey?
No.
Okay. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, but I know that a lot of people that do the carnivore diet, a lot of them will incorporate a little bit of either raw honey or stuff like that later on. For me, I was gonna start doing that this year, but I'm still feeling really good without any carbs whatsoever. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing until I notice that maybe I need to start adding it in, and maybe it would benefit me. But for right now, I just don't see the benefit in it.
Wow. How about the supplement?
In terms of supplements, my supplements, I'm taking a fraction of what I was taking a couple of years ago. So right now, the only things I'm taking, I take vitamin D3. I take 5,000 IU every morning as a maintenance dose. And then on the first of the month, I'll do a bolus dose of 120,000 IU. So when I do my maintenance dose, I'll use the nanoceutical solutions, because every drop full, it's 5,000 IU. And then the Designs for Health is what I use for my bolus dose, because it's a 59 milliliter bottle, and it's 1,000 IU per half mil. So I'll just chug an entire bottle on the first of the month. And then I've been doing it that way for a while. I think August or September was when I started doing the daily maintenance with the 1 bolus dose a month. And I've been feeling really good from that. And then aside from that, all the other supplements that I take, they're all just for digestive aids. I'll take glutamine, I'll take probiotics, and either HCl or a digestive enzyme. When I'm eating at home, I have my digestive enzymes at home, and then when I eat at the office, I have my my HCl over here. But that's pretty much it. I take those 4 supplements, and 2-3 years ago, I was taking about 24 different supplements.
Yeah.
Because I was taking all of those plus magnesium, zinc, acetyl L-carnitine, fish oil, the fiber supplement. I was taking what else was I taking? I was taking calcium D-glucarate. I was taking an estrogen control supplement. I was taking, you name the supplement, I was on it.
That's right.
And then I found that when I started the carnivore diet, when I was on those supplements, I was getting a lot of loose stool. And then as soon as I eliminated all of them, everything went back to normal. So I just never went back on them. And the only ones that I stuck with were just the glutamine, probiotics, and the digestive enzymes.
Yeah, because carnivore, especially organ meat, like liver is a multivitamins, and then one of the best nutrient you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so what kind of organ do you eat so far?
So I'll have 2 pounds of liver a week. Every Monday and Thursday, I'll have 1 pound of liver. And then I also have spleen and kidneys. Those are the ones that I consume the most often. And aside from that, I mean, I'll occasionally have things like beef hearts or even brain, stuff like that. But that's a little bit more rare. The liver is what I have the most often for organs, and then kidneys would be the second most often.
How about the testicle?
Never tried it.
Oh, really?
Well, you know what? I've just never seen it in stores. If I found it in stores, I'd give it a try. I'm down to try anything once just to kind of see how it tastes.
It tastes amazing though, and then it feels like it boosts your testosterone.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to go check out what grocery store do you go to.
I order Ontario Water Buffalo Farm, Ontario Water Buffalo Company. I will share with you. They sell heart, so I get kidney, testicle, liver, tendon, ligament. Only thing is they don't sell brain. So yeah. So you can get brain, eh?
Not water buffalo. For water buffalo,
which brain you get? Like cow?
Cows. The only brain that I've really seen in stores is cow brain. But in terms of the water buffalo stuff, the only water buffalo that I really consume, I'll have water buffalo. Not so much anymore, but I used to have water buffalo milk occasionally if I did want to have.
Oh yeah, milk. Yeah, milk.
Yeah, it didn't upset my stomach. I found that it was really, really good. Water buffalo cheese I really like, and then in terms of the meats, when it comes to things like sirloin steak or ribeye, I prefer the taste of the beef to the water buffalo. But for the water buffalo burgers, I really like the water buffalo burgers.
Okay.
Yeah, so the water buffalo burgers is probably what I consume the most of in terms of the water buffalo meats. And then aside from the water buffalo cheese, I really like.
Yeah, so water buffalo is a little bit more gamey, right? It's like a little bit more wild.
Yeah, especially the ribeye and the top sirloin. The burgers not so much, but yeah, the ribeye and the top sirloin. I just find that for the extra price, it's not worth the taste because I find the taste of the beef better.
No deer.
Yeah, I'll have deer too. So deer, I'll have deer steaks and deer burgers occasionally. Same thing with ostrich burgers. I don't know if you've ever had them, but those are really good. And I'm actually sad because the grocery store that I get all my food, or at least the one that I used to get all my food from, they had ostrich burgers and kangaroo burgers, and the kangaroo burgers were phenomenal. I used to have those at least once every 5 days because I was doing a 5-day meat rotation. And I was having that for about a year and a half, and then they just stopped selling them altogether. But the kangaroo burgers were absolutely phenomenal. If you ever have kangaroo burgers, definitely pick them up.
Well, Charles, he loves wapiti here.
Mm-hmm.
So wapiti you can only find in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Wow. How about the fish and the other, seafood?
So with fish and seafood, it's something that I'll have very, very rarely. Well, up until last year, I was doing fish once every 5th day. And because that was part of my 5-day rotation. And I was mostly doing things like salmon, cod, and halibut. I'd have other stuff as well, but those were the ones that made up the bulk of my rotation. I'd also incorporate, like sometimes I would have some shark steaks or something like that. But I just found that ever since going strict carnivore, my body doesn't respond as well to salmon as it used to. So now salmon, for me, it's more a food item that I'll have once in a while. I won't incorporate it regularly into the diet. The last time I had salmon was probably when I came back from my Montreal course, because I just graduated from the 3-year program a few months ago. And my best friend picked me up from the airport. We went for sushi, and I just had a ton of salmon sashimi. So that would have been, a couple months ago. Before that, the last time I had salmon, it would have probably been a few months before that. Pretty much whenever I get back from Montreal, we go for sushi and I just get a bunch of salmon sashimi.
Yeah. A lot of people, red meat bad for you. Oh, meat. But, more and more, I see a lot of people doing carnivore, and myself, feel better than ever.
Yeah.
Well,
the main reason that I do it is for digestive health, just because ever since being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I just find that the more fattier cuts of meat and the more red meat that I consume, the better I feel, which is the exact opposite of what all the doctors told me when I first got diagnosed. I remember when I first got diagnosed, the doctor was telling me I needed to eliminate saturated fat, I needed to eat whole grains, and I needed to eat a lot of fiber. And I didn't listen to one bit of his recommendation. So a year after my colonoscopy, I went for a follow-up sigmoidoscopy just so he could kind of look around and see what was going on. And then he showed me the pictures, showed me the results, and he said, honestly, if I didn't know you had ulcerative colitis, I would never know from looking at these pictures because everything looks perfectly normal. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And in my head, I was like, I'm doing the exact opposite of what you told me to do. I'm not consuming any fiber whatsoever. I'm eating a lot of saturated fat, and I'm not eating any grains whatsoever because at the time I was doing paleo. But yeah, that's basically why I went on carnivore. I just find that carnivore gives me the most, it just makes me feel the best in terms of my energy levels, my mental clarity, my digestive health. So that's why I do it personally.
Yeah, and then your poop is like a beautiful, like ice cream, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
you don't see brown rice and corn and beans in your poop, right?
Yeah. It's just just all you see is poo. There's no corn pieces in there.
Yeah, like like you digest so well.
Yeah.
Good. What's your sleep like? What's your sleep protocol?
So typically what I'll do, because I work really late until the night, I'm always really ramped up late at night. So I need something to calm me down. So I have a prescription for medical marijuana, and I'll just have a couple of tokes on my vaporizer before I go to bed, about an hour or 2 hours before I go to bed. And that kind of helps just to calm me down, relax me a little bit. And then aside from that, I have an essential oil diffuser. So I'll put clary sage in there, and I'll turn that on about an hour before I go to bed. That way, by the time I go to bed, the room's nice and filled with the scent. And then, pretty much aside from that, I have in my room, there's no electronics. I have a HEPA filter, an essential oil diffuser, and all of my alarm clocks, they're all analogs. So I keep my cell phone downstairs on the main floor. And then to wake up, I just have this little Batman alarm clock that's analog, and then this it's an old school analog clock as well. They both run on batteries. But yeah, I don't have my cell phone in the room. And in terms of my pre-bed ritual, that's basically it. It's have some marijuana before bed, get my essential oil diffuser ready, and then that's pretty much my pre-bed ritual.
How about like melatonin and then magnesium L-threonate?
No, you know what? The magnesium was one thing that I noticed that was giving me loose stool when I started the carnivore. So I got rid of magnesium, and I never got back on it yet. And I haven't really noticed any issues. I haven't noticed that my sleep has suffered. I'm not noticing that my muscles are any more sore than usual. So I just find that, again, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. So I'm feeling great the way I am now, and nothing's really hindering my sleep or my performance. So I'm just sticking with the 4 supplements that I'm taking, and that's it right now.
So what's your bedroom temperature like?
Oh, I don't know the actual temperature in the room. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably in the high 60s to low 70s, probably around 70, probably around 68 to 72, somewhere in that range.
Okay, 68 is 18 Celsius. So it's a Fahrenheit, right? So okay, so that's 18. All right. So then how many hours do you sleep at night, and then you take a nap?
I don't take any naps, but in terms of my sleep, I'll get anywhere from about 6 to 8 hours, depending on when I go to bed and what time I have to wake up. My early days, well now I've been kind of coming into work at around 10 a.m. There were a few days where I was coming in at 9. And I usually wake up about 2.5 hours before I have to actually get into work. So I'll usually wake up at around 7 to 7:30. And I'll usually go to bed anywhere from 10 o'clock to midnight, depending on what time I get home from work.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what do you think about nap? I love to take a nap, personally. What do you think about it?
If it's something that you need, for me, it's not something that I really need often. I find that for me, I find it difficult napping, because even if I want to nap, if I lie down, for some reason, I just can't nap. I think it was last week or the week before, there was one day where I was really exhausted because of the training that I did the day before. So I ended up taking a nap on that day. But aside from that, like maybe once every 7-8 months, I'll end up taking a nap at work. But it's not something that I really do on a regular basis. It's very, very rare. It's more if I do a really intense training session the day before and then the next day I'm just exhausted, then I'll do it. But otherwise, I don't really take naps throughout the day.
Yeah. So how about like coffee or tea? You drink?
I was never really a big coffee drinker. In high school, me and my buddies, we used to go to this espresso bar after school, and we would have an espresso. But the last time that I had coffee was 2011, so it's been over 10 years. I remember it was a family day. Or no, wait, that was the last time I drank alcohol. The last time I had coffee, I think, was 2010. So it's been over a decade since I've had coffee. And I remember the last time that I had coffee, actually, it was late at night. I wanted to watch a movie and I was really tired. So I thought, okay, let me have an espresso to wake me up. I shot back to the espresso. It had a couple teaspoons of sugar in it, and I passed out within 5 to 10 minutes. Didn't even watch the movie. So coffee for me, it's not something that I've really consumed a lot of throughout my life. And then especially the last 11 years, I haven't had it at all.
Wow. How about water? How much water do you drink per day?
Anywhere from 5 to 7 liters, minimum 5. And then if I'm doing really intense workout, like on my strongman training days, then it might be closer to 6 or 7. But on an average day, I'll have about 5 liters of water.
Yeah, me too. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not too much water for you."
Yeah. Well, I would always drink a gallon. And then for me, I find that anywhere between, I find that 5 to 7 liters is a good sweet spot for me. If I get less than a gallon, I just notice that my digestion isn't optimal. And then if I get more than 7 liters, I'm going to have to run to the washroom every 2 seconds. But I find that with 5 to 7 liters of water throughout the day, I feel really good and I'm not running to the washroom all the time. So that's why I try to stick to that. And I'll try to consume most of it in the morning, because if I don't get my water early in the morning, then I just won't get it throughout the rest of the day. The first thing that I do when I wake up is I just chug 2 liters of water. That way I get at least half of it out of the way. And then I'll try to finish the other liter to a liter and a half by around noon. And then the remainder I'll just have throughout the rest of the day.
Oh man, similar.
Yeah.
So now, what is your expectation for your like longevity? For me, I think I can live 90 to 128 good. I think so. Yeah. How about you? What's your plan?
For me, I've always joked around that I don't want to live to be older than 70, but as long as I am able to function optimally and I don't need somebody taking care of me, I'll just keep going until I need help. But generally, the men in my family, both of my grandfathers died in their 70s. So I think genetically, I'm probably predisposed to probably live somewhere around that same time. And mind you though, both my grandfathers were heavy smokers and they also drank. So I'm sure I might be able to push out a few extra years, but I'm thinking probably late 70s, early 80s, just based off of my family history.
Well, they didn't do carnivore.
No, they didn't, but they also lived in a time where there wasn't a lot of processed food and there wasn't the same type of stress levels that we have today. For me, even though I eat a lot better than them, the amount of stress just from owning a business and being here 80 to 90 hours a week, on top of the amount of stress that I get on my body from the workouts that I do, that definitely it's not optimal. Like ideally, the workouts that I do are more performance based. Like I do the workouts that it's functional, but it's also more performance based. I'm not just doing light workouts just to kind of maintain.
No joke. You're trained, no joke.
Workouts, I think the accumulation of stress over the next several decades will definitely impact my longevity. But I'm thinking probably late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, so your goal is like performance, right?
Right. Yeah. So my goal is performance, and then if I notice that I'm getting a little bit of aches and pains here and there, then I'll, like what I'm doing this week, I'll just switch over more to rehabilitation type stuff and more just improving the function of the body. But once I feel good, then I just go right back into performance workouts.
Yeah, man, you're training like crazy, no joke. You know, my training style changed like so much over the last like 10 years, 10, 15 years. I used to like train like crazy, but now I want longevity, you know.
Yeah.
I used to be like, you know, oh man, I want to be like strong, and then, you know, like look a lot of muscle. I used to be a lot heavier, like your Asian guy. My max was a 205 pounds, and then I did a show, right, bodybuilding show. At the stage, I was like crazy, like 3% body fat, like no fat, like 180 pounds.
Yeah, I saw the picture. You looked great.
Like that's like looking great, but I don't feel good inside, you know.
Oh,
like
yeah.
pain everywhere, like, you know, you too cold, and then because, you know, you down regulate your thyroid, and it's too cold, and then, you know, like you don't feel good, right?
And then you completely tank your testosterone levels, so then you have no energy.
No energy at that time. Also, you know, like back in 2009, and like no sodium. Now I feel great and amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like over when I was younger, I was a lot more into things like bodybuilding, and then as I got older and once I started developing the health issues, that's when I really started focusing a lot more on functionality and just feeling good. So like even the workouts that I do now, even though they're really, really intense, I'm not really going. When I say intense, I'm referring to intensity in terms of more rating of perceived exertion, not intensity in terms of repetition of 1 rep max. So when I'm doing the training now, the last 4 months, it's been a lot of volume. It hasn't really been too much high intensity. So like when I do my strongman workouts, I'm lifting at under 60%, but I'm just doing a lot of volume. And yeah, I just find that by doing it that way, I'm able to get kind of the benefit of everything. I'm able to maintain my strength just because I'm still lifting heavy weight, but I'm not killing my joints from going all out, doing 1 rep maxes and stuff like that. And then I'm also able to maintain my body weight just from the high amount of volume that I'm doing.
Yeah, man. How many single arm pull-up you can do? Like crazy. Like how many you can do?
So the last time that I went all out, I was able to do 7 all the way down. And then after my last 3 weeks where I was doing the 300 pull-ups every workout, I wanted to see how many I could do. But because my shoulder's been bugging me, I'm going to wait about a week before I see how many. But I want to see if I can do over 10 one-arm pull-ups and good form, like all the way.
Yeah, man. Crazy one-arm. Like, you know, very strong. A lot of, you know, like crazy. So, okay. Now, if you can only do 10 minutes a day, rest of your life, what kind of a movement or exercise you would do?
So right now, I'm on a really big strongman kick. So I think I would probably, because you're asking me this right now, if I could only do 10 minutes, I would probably alternate between things like dips, chin-ups, strongman tire, and atlas stones. I'd probably pick those 4 exercises and then just do those every single day.
Okay. So like you're going to do a circuit?
Yeah, so the way that I would structure it if I was going to do it would be I would do an upper body push, lower body push, upper body pull, lower body pull. So for the upper body push, I would do my dips. I would superset that with the atlas stones as my lower body push. And then for the upper body pull, I would do my chin-ups, and then I would superset that with the strongman tire for the bend for the lower body.
Yeah, man, that sounds amazing. And then how about the like, you know, like cardio?
Oh, that's my cardio.
Right? Your average heart rate, what, like it would be 150 to 170?
So I don't know what my average heart rate is during my workout because it's not something that
I mean, if you do 10 minutes, you know, like Tabata or almost like, you know,
okay.
Yeah, if you do only 10 minutes, like, you know, I'm sure like 150 to 180, you know.
Yeah, if I were to do 10 minutes all out, just going from exercise to exercise without stopping, it would probably be somewhere over there. My resting heart rate right now, it's about 43 beats per minute.
Crazy, man, 43. Yeah. I'm getting like end of summer, I'm getting early 50s, and then usually like 58 something. But yeah, like crazy, like because you know a lot of people think is when they do bicycle, when they do running and then they do improve cardiovascular function. But, actually when you circuit type of training, you actually improve your cardiac output, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one thing. So one of the strongman workouts that I was doing a few months ago, I actually turned it into a challenge, but I would do an ascending and descending repetition scheme. And it would be 1 tire flip, 1 Atlas stone, 2 tire flips, 2 Atlas stones, 3 and 3, 4 and 4. I did all of that up until 10, and then I went 10 back down to 1. So it was 110 Atlas stone lifts and 110 tire flips in one workout. And the way that I had structured it, so at the first workout, it was 1 to 5, 5 to 1. The next workout was 1 to 6, 6 to 1, then 1 to 7, 7 to 1. And I kept doing that until the 6th workout was 1 to 10, 10 to 1. And then the 7th workout, it was the same thing, 20 sets of those 2 exercises, but it was for time. And I just tried to get it done as quickly as possible. And yeah, by the time that workout's done, I mean, your heart is pounding like crazy, you're sweating like crazy. So
yeah,
that's my cardio right there.
Yeah, exactly. Functional cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, amazing. So now, if you can only eat 5 to 7 things rest of your life, what would you eat and why?
Oh, pretty much the 4 things that I'm eating right now. So a double bacon cheeseburger, just because I love it. It's one of my favorite things to eat. I love ribeye steak, so I would have ribeye steak. Bacon wrap filet mignon. If you haven't tried the bacon wrap filet mignon from Butcher Box, it breaks apart in your mouth. It's absolutely delicious.
Okay.
I really like top sirloin steak, so I would add that in there. And the medium ground beef with the beef liver, I really liked it. I know that a lot of people aren't a fan of organ meats, but for me, I really, really like the liver, so that's really good. So those would probably be the 5 meals that I would consume for the rest of my life, just because that's basically what I've been consuming for the last year, and I absolutely love it, and I'm not bored of it at all. And especially because the way that I structure my diet, I'll have one thing on one day, and that's the only thing I eat. So for today's example, I had top sirloin steak for breakfast. I'm going to have top sirloin steak again. So the next time I have top sirloin steak, it's not going to be for another 3-4 days. So I'm not consuming it close enough where it's the same thing all the time and I'm getting bored.
And
having that 3 to 4 day gap in between it just keeps everything fresh and just keeps the diet fun for me.
That's right. So now, like, your omega-3 index will be go through the roof, and they're good, because you consume a lot of omega-3, right? Even though you don't use fish oil, right?
Yeah.
Good. In your knowledge and experience, what is the most important things for our quality and longevity of our life? Somebody who they want to live long. And then, okay, so I'm your client. Okay, Stefan, I want to live long and I want to be strong. So what kind of advice would you give them?
2 of the most overlooked things when it comes to health and longevity are going to be stress management and rest and recovery. So if you're not getting adequate amount of rest between your workouts, or if you're not sleeping properly, or if you're constantly stressed out, those are going to have a much more detrimental effect on your health than things like not working out or even not having the greatest diet. If you have an okay diet and an okay training program, and your sleep habits and your stress management are just excellent, I think you're going to be better off than somebody who has an excellent workout, an excellent diet plan, but they're chronically stressed and they're chronically undersleeping. I think sleep and stress are the 2 things that are most important, and they're the 2 things that get overlooked the most.
That's right. How about meditation? What do you think about meditation?
Well, I would include that in the stress. So if you're somebody who's really stressed out, meditation would be an excellent thing to incorporate, just to help bring your body more into a parasympathetic state, lower your cortisol levels. The other thing too, with regard to your stress hormones, is when you do get stressed, your insulin sensitivity decreases, your testosterone decreases. So it's going to be easier for you to store fat, harder to build muscle. It's also, if you're not getting enough sleep, same thing. Insulin sensitivity decreases, your testosterone decreases, your levels of ghrelin are going to be elevated. So you're going to find it a lot harder to make good food choices throughout the day. It's also going to make it a lot easier for you to go out on binges and do that type of stuff. So I just find that by doing things like meditation to help bring your body down into that parasympathetic state and lower your stress levels, that's going to be a lot more beneficial than diet and exercise. I mean, they're all important, but everybody knows the importance of diet and exercise. But when it comes to sleep and stress, it's not something that really gets talked about as much. It's become a little bit more talked about the last maybe 10 years. But I remember prior to for me, 2010 was when I ended up doing the Czech Academy with Paul Czech. So that's when I really started paying a lot more attention to stress and sleep. And I don't know if it's just because of my education that I'm just noticing it more now, but prior to 2010, I never heard anybody talking about stress and sleep.
Yeah, a lot of people, so if you don't sleep well, like if you don't get a good deep sleep and REM sleep, also, your circadian rhythm mess up, your morning cortisol and the melatonin, and then also you increase a lot of cortisol throughout whole day, and then you increase a lot of inflammation in your body, right? So here and there, pain everywhere. So sleep, like very important. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you can say 20 years old yourself, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
I would, when I tore my left pec when I was 21. So the number one piece of advice I would give myself, because at the time when I tore my pec, I was really dumb. I just went right into my working weight without warming up. So I would tell myself, warm up before you.
Pec major, right?
Yeah, pec major on the left. And then the other thing that I did that was a big mistake back then was I would always stretch in between my sets. And at the time, I didn't know the science behind it about how you get stronger, or you get weaker, you lose stability, you lose power output, you lose coordination, all that type of stuff when you stretch before your workout. So if I would tell myself a couple things, number one, get a good warm up in before you actually work out. And number two, don't stretch before or during your workout, stretch at the end of it. And then I'd also give myself some nutrition advice, just because that would have been around the time that it was a few years before I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So I would tell myself, like, don't try to do bulk diets or anything. Just eat at a decent amount of calorie surplus, gradually increase your weight, but don't try to put on too much weight at once, because it's going to destroy your digestive health.
Yeah, I remember went to the seminar Dr. McGill's do. Strongman competitor, they started doing some yoga and then build a back injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a, yoga or whatever training for different population, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, there's so one of the things that I've done over the years is the Aldoa program with the Soma Training Institute. And the Aldoa, it's kind of like scientific yoga, if I had to compare it to yoga, because you're holding these static postures, but you're holding them according to your body's anatomy and physiology. So depending on what area you want to work on, there's very specific angles that you're going to play around with in terms of the levels of internal and external rotation, hip flexion, hip extension, and like the level of abduction, flexion, extension in the shoulders. So when it comes to pain management, instead of something like yoga, I'm a big fan of the Aldoas, and that's something that I've been using in my clinic since 2015 was when I first started using it, but 2018 was when I did the courses and I was a lot more comfortable and confident using it with clients. But yeah, I've been doing that a lot with people with back issues, shoulder issues, neck issues. So for pain management, yeah, the Aldoa, I mean, yeah, you could get some good results with yoga as well. But I just find that the Aldoa, it's a lot more time efficient. You could get the same results in a fraction of the time.
Yeah, very specific for movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have only one day to live, what do you do, and then what do you eat?
So if I only have one day to live, it's not really enough to do much. So I would want to do something that I know I'm going to enjoy. And one thing that I know 100% I would enjoy is just marathoning Breaking Bad. So I would just lay down in bed, watch the projector, and just watch as much Breaking Bad as I can in that one day. And then in terms of eating, it's my last day to live. So I'm just going to stuff my face with all the stuff that I love. I'm going to have some double bacon cheeseburgers. I'm going to have some carnivore nachos. I'm going to have some, what else? I did this carnivore nacho platter that's amazing, just with chicken skins as the chips. Yeah, so that's probably what I would do if I just had one day to live. I would just lay down in bed, watch Breaking Bad, and just eat cheeseburgers and nachos.
How about cheat meal? A lot of people ask me cheat meal so much. What about cheat meal? You don't feel like to eat cheat meal?
No, for me, I don't believe in designating specific meals to have a cheat meal or a cheat day. For me, if I'm really craving something late at night, then I'll just eat that thing. But I don't designate, okay, Monday's going to be my cheat meal day, or every seventh meal is going to be my cheat meal. For me, it's just I eat the foods that I like. If I do have a cheat meal, it's the same foods that I eat throughout the rest of the day. I'll just have more of it. So it's not really a cheat. It's more just I'm listening to my body, and if I'm craving more food than what I've consumed, then I'll just consume more food. But I don't really plan cheat meals or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing dedication, man. So what are the top 3 things you learned past 2 years?
Let's see. In the last 2 years, that's a really good question. What are the 2? Okay, so 3 of the things that I've learned that have been really, really beneficial in the last 3 years. A lot of the stuff that I did with the Soma training program. So the Soma training program, the anatomy knowledge when you take those courses, you're getting into the micro anatomy. So it's not just about, okay, your adductors are responsible for adduction, but it's like, which adductor does the most adduction? Which one does the most flexion? Which one does the most internal rotation? Like, you're getting specific with where exactly on the bone does the muscle sit. And because it sits slightly more anterior and slightly more superior, what does that mean? So because it's more superior, it's gonna have a little bit more of an adduction component. Like with that course, like my anatomy knowledge has gone through the roof. And that says a lot, because I took, again, massage therapy as my degree. And in massage therapy, we had about 500 hours of anatomy. And the anatomy knowledge that we did in the Soma training program just blew that out of the water. It was way more in-depth. So my anatomy knowledge has definitely been something that has gotten a lot better over the last couple of years. And a couple other things that have really improved have been, let's see, this isn't really fitness related, but definitely confidence in front of the camera because of all the YouTube channels that I've been doing. So I've been kind of figuring out how exactly should I talk, my speaking cadence, my pitch, all that type of stuff. So I've also learned how to be more comfortable in front of the camera, just because I'm naturally more introverted, and I'm not a big fan of public speaking. I've done lectures for people and things like that, but I always feel very, very self-conscious and shy. So that's one thing that I find that I'm learning about, just how exactly to be in front of the camera, how to speak to people, how to speak to a large group of people. That's something that I've learned over the last couple of years. And then another thing that I've learned, let's see. One of the other things that I've learned would say how to manage my time efficiently. Because, again, I work 80 to 90 hours a week, and I have to be able to manage everything. I have to manage my time with my patients and my clients. I have to manage my time when it comes to recording, editing YouTube videos. I have to allocate specific time to, okay, coming out with content, writing programs, doing all these different things. So because of all of the different areas that I'm kind of focusing on right now, learning how to manage my time has definitely been something that I've done in the last couple of years. So I would say over the last couple of years, those would be 3 things that I've definitely improved upon.
Yeah, man, I see you like every year you're doing better and better and better, and amazing. Great. Yeah. How people can find you?
So the easiest way is to find me either Instagram at Team Youphoric. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really use it often. Same thing, it's Team Youphoric. My Facebook page is Team Youphoric. My website is teamyouphoric.com. Those would be the easiest, though. I would say, in terms of booking appointments, either message me on Instagram or visit my website, teamyouphoric.com, and those would be the easiest ways. And then my YouTube channel, Team Youphoric Health and Fitness Education. I'm uploading videos every single day, so I upload about 400 videos a year. Yeah, because I'll upload at least once a day, and then if I'm live streaming one of my workouts or something, or if there's an extra video that I want to put out, then I'll upload a couple in a day. But yeah, YouTube, Instagram, and my website would be the easiest ways to reach me.
Yeah, I will include that your information, the show note.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. So is there anything you want to say before we wrap up this podcast for my follower or your client or your friends and family or this universe? You want to say anything?
A couple things. I'll say this. A couple things. Number one, it's really easy to focus on what other people are doing and try to compare yourself to other people and get down on yourself if you're not doing as well as them. But number one piece of advice would be just focus on yourself. If somebody is doing better than you, don't worry about what they're doing. Just are you doing better than you were yesterday? So that's one thing that I do with myself. I try not to focus on what other people are doing. I just try to be a better version of myself than what I was yesterday. Obviously, it's easier said than done. There's a lot of times you see people and you want to compare yourself, but the more that you can try to avoid comparisons between other people, that would be better for the mental health, for the physical. When it comes to anything, like especially a lot of people want to lose weight or build muscle, don't try and overwhelm yourself by doing everything all at once. Focus on doing little habits here and there, one at a time. Put all of your effort and energy into that one habit. Once you've mastered that habit, then start incorporating other ones and only do habits that you know you can do. If you are not drinking enough water, then start with that. Just drink a little bit more water. If that's too difficult for you, then find another habit that's even easier. Just ask yourself, this habit over here, is there a 10 out of 10 chance that I can do this consistently for the next month? If you can say yes to that, then great, do that. If you can't say yes to that, then find another habit that's easier, because once you do a habit and you stick with it and it becomes consistent and you're able to do it for a month, it's going to make those more difficult challenges later on a lot easier, because you're going to have that self-confidence of accomplishing the ones earlier on. So that would be another thing. And then the last thing that I would say with regard to, this is nutrition related, is if you don't like it, don't eat it. That's the number one rule that I have with my clients. It doesn't matter whether you're vegan, vegetarian, paleo, keto, carnivore, Mediterranean diet. If the foods that you are eating, you like them and they make you feel good, you're going to get results on that type of a diet. So don't worry if people are saying, oh, you need to do keto because you're going to lose weight on keto, or to lose weight, you have to do carnivore, or you have to do vegan. You can lose weight, you can build muscle on any diet. So find the diet that is sustainable for you. Make sure that you like the foods that you're eating. If you don't like it, don't eat it. And if you're not feeling good, change it up.
Great, man. That's amazing advice.
Thank you.
Amazing. So thank you. Is that everything you said today?
Yeah, you know what? Like in terms of everything you've asked and what I wanted to say, those were pretty much the main things. So yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me on the first episode.
Yeah, and then hopefully we can work out very soon. You're so strong in there. I want to learn. So last year I went to your gym and then we did some exercise. That was amazing. A lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. We ended up busting out the tire, the Atlas stone.
Yeah, and then we can eat some cool stuff together.
Oh yeah, and if I don't know if you have a place to work out right now, but my studio is open because we're considered an essential service because of the